I want to set the stage a little bit for the next portion of our meeting here. I am grateful that we can stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before us and those who have been great leaders in our fellowship. As you know, from time to time, I've given recognition for outstanding Christian leadership. David Wilkerson received one of those recognitions. Our Superintendent Emeritus, Alman Bartholomew, who, by the way, sends his greeting. He's not able to be with us tonight. He's had some physical issues, and he sends his love. He received one of the first superintendent's recognitions of outstanding Christian leadership, great leaders. And we've done that several times through the last years. We don't do it every year. When I pastored in New York City, at Belrose, where Pastor Dom is now, I had an acquaintance that I met, and he became a prayer support for me. The challenges faced in that church were immense. And on Sundays, especially after I was done with service, I would usually have a board meeting, and they were not good ones. They were very, very difficult. One of the things that helped me get through those times was a fellow who would say, "I'm praying for you," on a regular weekly basis. It was his home church. He and his wife were the first couple married in that building. His dad had been a former board member. He was a CBC graduate. It wasn't until sometime later, as I was at a concert of prayer meeting in Pennsylvania, one of our January meetings where we gather for several days of fasting and prayer, that I learned his story. His story was that he came out of CBC and went to one of our churches on Staten Island as a youth pastor, was intending to plant a church at the request of the lead pastor. But when the time came for that to happen, there were some unfortunate challenges that came from that lead pastor. It was through a series of events, and Bob and I have read the records. The minutes in our archives are exhaustive. There were those who came to support this incredible man of God. And then there was a decision that he was not dismissed, but his credentials were no longer desired by some in leadership. I've said from time to time that we as Christians sometimes practice our spiritual gift of stupid with eloquence. This was one of those moments. I wish we could turn back the clock. This man is a great man of God. He's been a dear friend. He's been a leader of the Christian church in New York City. His wife is an incredible woman of God. Their family, veteran Assemblies of God missionaries in Nicaragua. Deep Assemblies of God roots. I believe that as a fellowship, when we have made mistakes in the past, that we need to rectify those. I need an amen. I think one way to do that is, though never expected, and frankly, this brother never even told his children until they heard it in a public concerts of prayer where the pastor, who was the one that was instrumental in the separation of our brother from our fellowship, repented and apologized. That's when I found out. And that's when his son found out. Because there was never any bitterness, there was never any resentment, there was just, well, that's a closed door and God has something else for us. As a result, he built, with the Lord's help and with the Lord's anointing, a great church on Staten Island. The church is Gateway Cathedral. It's right at the Outer Bridge crossing. Great influence in so many areas. I invited Dan and Vanjie Mercaldo to come tonight. Number one, because I deeply love them. Number two, because if we hadn't had someone who practiced their spiritual gift, they would be leaders in our fellowship today. And so, Dan and Vanjie, I'd like you to come to the platform. Would you please? There's one other thing that I would like to say, but somebody else is going to say that, if you would. I think we have someone who's coming. Do we? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Tim is going to go to the keyboard.
Being healed of polio at the age of 12. He was left to die or be crippled. And the people of God prayed. and he was healed. That was his calling into the ministry. And little did he know that God would bring him through great pain and breaking in the early years of ministry on Staten Island. And when I was 16, I was called to the ministry in the place of my birth, for Fort Wayne, Indiana, where my dad first started at First Assembly there. And so I felt I needed to do a song on the calling of God. Here it is. When God Calls. What wonder and fear Moses must have felt that day when God's voice spoke from a burning bush and sealed his holy fate. For the prideful Saul of Tarsus, the day turned into night when a blinding flash from God left him groping without sight. God called them. He called them to obey him and follow his command, to attend divine appointment with the blessed great I am. When God calls, we stand before the Maker of the universe. When God calls, he lifts our spirit far from all the realms of earth. Tremble at his bidding, with our feet on holy ground, the consecrated summon to the throne room of his power. We bow and worship him alone. When God calls, from that moment in the garden when he first created man, he has longed that we should know him and prosper at his hand. So he draws us to his presence and brings us to his light. Distant steps in the journey of a heart that's sanctified. God calls us. He calls us in our sorrow. He finds us in our pain. He finds us in our pain to receive his gift of mercy. Salvation in his name. When God calls, we stand before the Maker of the universe. When God calls, he lifts our spirit far from all the realms of earth. We tremble at his bidding, with our feet on holy ground, the consecrated summons to the throne room of his power. we bow and worship Him alone. When God calls, one great and glorious day, when all our work is done, when we prodigals see heaven and the Father brings us home, there every tear that was ever shed will dry and disappear. When our eyes behold the wonder as the Father and the Son of God appear. Oh, hear the angels worship Him. Everything that has breath will praise the Lord. And every saint that's gone before us will be there when we come home. We'll stand before the Maker of the universe. When God calls, He lifts our spirit far from all the realms of earth. Tremble at His bidding with our feet on holy ground. The consecrated summons to the throne room of His power. We bow and worship Him alone. Our hearts become the Master's own. Oh, the greatest glory men can know. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Thank you, Tim. Dan, you've been a leader in New York City. You've been on the board at Concerts of Prayer. Just about everyone across the city knows who you are in evangelical circles. You've been a leader. You've built a great church. You are my prayer support. And I have told Bev on a number of occasions, I don't know if I could have made it through Belrose without your prayers. That kept me going, knowing that you were praying for me. I thank God for you. And I am thankful that what happened in the past was not something that derailed God's call on your life. Even as Tim said, when God calls, it's an irrevocable call. Our hearts remain pliable. God changes our course. But you are a part of this family. You are a part of this family. You are a part of this family. And we love you. We have a gift for you, and we're not going to have you open it here, but I believe there is a picture on the screen, or will be. It is a Swarovski crystal lion that we would like you to display as a remembrance of how deeply you were loved and honored and respected by this fellowship. I want to give you an opportunity to speak.
I just have to thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tim, for coming up. I was surprised by that. I have many wonderful friends here in the audience, and your pastor is someone that we have loved for many, many years and respected, and he has, through the years, reached out and let me know how much he loved me, and that has meant so much. I appreciate that, and I just want to say a great big thank you. I don't know, I've asked my friends, Presbyterians, Baptists, Pentecostals, if they've ever heard anything like this before. And all of them said, what kind of a man must Duane or Durst be in order to do this? and reach out to me like you've done and through the years and tonight. Duane, I just honor you and so many people around this country that I share this story with, Will, because it's a wonderful testimony of God's healing grace and wonder. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bless. 52 years ago, you could never have imagined that this day would be here. But God has a plan.